Warriors, welcome to another important video, my friends. I've wanted to do this video for a number of weeks now, and I'm excited to do so. Before I get into it, please subscribe to the #1 anxiety support channel there is, and hit the bell for all the notifications for all of my videos. My friends, today is about a book review, and I've read this book multiple times. And I want to share some of the principles from this book, and I want you to read it many, many times. Because what it's going to do is it's going to give you a deeper understanding around why you're feeling the way you are and why you just can't seem to get out of the cycle of living with an anxiety disorder. The book is It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn. Fantastic book. And the subline in the book is this: how inherited family trauma shapes who we are and how to end the cycle. Yes, I've got a number of notes here with the principles from the book that I want to share with you. I'm not going to give away too much of the book, but I want to give you a deep understanding around what you're going to get yourself into with this book today. So let's dive into some of the principles right away that we can begin using and applying in our daily lives. Surrounding yourself with finders versus seekers. This really spoke to me. Finders come from a heart sense. Finders know. And finders look within. Whereas seekers are triers. They try everything. Seekers are very fearful. They're fearful of trusting the answers that arise within them. And seekers always look for the answers on the outside, therefore never trusting what's coming from the inside. So the book mentions that it's very important to surround yourself with these kinds of people. So as you go about and create an inventory around the family members and the friends that you're surrounding yourself with and communicating with every single day, you want to keep track of whether you are surrounding yourself with seekers versus finders. Okay, very important. The constant looking outside for answers can keep us from recognizing when we've hit the target. And how true is this? If someone's always looking for the next answer in the outside from someone else, from somewhere else, then they'll never know when they've in fact gotten to the place that they need to get to. So many people look at anxiety recovery and say, there's a place of being healed. Well, the truth is that with all the anxiety success stories that you hear, and I work with many, many people through my programs, they mentioned that there isn't so much a place of being healed, but there's a daily place that they visit around being healing. So it's not about being healed, but it's the idea of I'm constantly and never-endingly healing. Notice the difference in mindset there, and Mark Wolynn talks about it in this book, and I absolutely love it. Now, he also mentions a certain number 4, in fact, of unconscious programs that keep us stuck. Now, when I mention these programs, what I want you to do is I want you to look within and be honest with yourself and answer accordingly to say, you know what? Wow, that really could be me. Program number 1 that could be keeping you stuck without you even knowing it is that we have merged with a parent. Mark Wolynn talks about merging with a parent. And my interpretation of this is that whether it be consciously or unconsciously, we begin to feel like we are molded in the same way as a certain parent, either mother or father. So we take on the patterns, the anxious traits, the thought processes, the behaviors, even the way we walk, even the way we breathe, even the way our posture is. So physiologically, psychologically, in our verbal communication, we seem to have merged with one of our parents. So powerful, because when we recognize this, we can begin creating changes. And the change doesn't necessarily mean that you don't love or care for your parent. What it is saying, hey, these patterns are helpful, so I will adopt those, but these patterns are unhelpful. So I want to delete these. I want to unlearn these patterns coming from the unconscious process that I have merged with a parent. Very powerful. The second program that keeps us stuck is that we have rejected a parent. We have rejected a parent, right? Maybe we don't talk to them or we try not to think about them. But my interpretation of this at a deep level is this. When you reject a parent, what tends to happen is there's a deep sense of unforgiveness, blame, and self-guilt at play. And many times we don't recognize this, right? So what's important is to acknowledge the parent, okay, not to reject the parent. And you can acknowledge the parent not for their sake, but more so for your sake, to bring resolve to your life and to move you forward in time and not allow you to unconsciously continue to live in the past. Because the body is a representation of your memories and your past. And if feelings and symptoms and sensations in your body are speaking to you and saying, hey, there are things that you have neglected or are overdoing, or there are things that are unresolved and suppressed emotion within you connected to X, you want to listen. You want to listen to your body because it's telling you everything you need to know in order to begin healing yourself at the deepest levels. Third program comes down to the idea that we have experienced a break in our early bond with our mother. An early bond with our mother happens to every single child that comes to this world. The mother is the God of their universe, right? And so if there's a sense of detachment, maybe some arguments or fightings, or basically just some feelings of not being able to communicate with your mother, then what tends to happen is later on in life, you tend to feel like you don't have the direction and you can't trust anybody, right? So a lack of trust can come from this early childhood years of being detached from your mother or the bond being broken between your mother. So this is again a very important program to take note of. Fourth program that keeps us stuck that Mark Wolynn talks about in his book is that we have identified with a member of our family system other than our parents. So it could be an uncle, it could be an aunt, it could be anybody. During the early years, you kind of looked up to your uncle and went, my God, that guy's really cool, right? He looks so laid back and he's taking all these risks and he's putting himself in danger, or unconsciously your aunt was always connected to the addiction to suffering. She always talked about how today's going to be more difficult than yesterday and talking about all her challenges all the time. And this is someone that you felt very close to, and you may have adopted their habits and patterns, their thought processes, heck, their metaphor for life, right? Life is a long, dark tunnel. Maybe that's the case. So these programs are very, very important to understand where the roots of your anxiety disorder lie. Now let's get into a couple more principles of this book before you go ahead and read it yourself, because again, like I mentioned, it is so important to read this book. I absolutely love it, read it multiple times. Speech, enactments, dreams, body are ways the unconscious looks to communicate traumas and unresolved past. Oh my goodness. So what Mark is saying, that when we speak, right, we need to pay attention to the specific words that we use, because those are connected to unresolved traumas, memories that are continuing to live within us that we need to look directly to and reframe starting today, right? And then he talks about enactments. He talks about behaviors, actions that we take, behaviors that encompass who we believe we are. And in these behaviors, you can see what is unresolved, right? Again, very important. Dreams, what you want to do with dreams, because I truly believe that dreams are messages, signals from the unconscious. In fact, let me give you a short story here. I used to have these dreams of harming myself all the time, and I would take these dreams very, very literally. I would say, oh my God, what if I do something crazy? What if I do something stupid? What if I do something that doesn't get acknowledged by somebody else or accepted by somebody else, and therefore other people reject me? I'm afraid, and I feel like I'm losing control of myself. This is how those dreams made me feel. But little did I realize at the time, right, that these dreams were signs and signals. And when I began interpreting them metaphorically, I realized that there were things that I was overdoing and things that I was neglecting. And these were signs from the subconscious saying, hey, you need to look at this at a deeper level. Not at the surface level. You're never going to harm yourself. You love life too much, right? That's what health anxiety is. It's an undying, never-ending love for life. We love life so much. We love ourselves. We love everything about who we are at a deep level and what our life has become, and we don't want to lose it. So much of our anxiety comes from there. But back to dreams. When you wake up in the morning, you want to write down your dreams and you want to examine them at a deeper level and say, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? Because this is, again, a pathway towards the root causes. And one realization, one small win can be enough to take you on the healing path and keep you there for the rest of your life. And then the body. He talks about the body. And of course, we've talked about the body many, many times. Sensations, symptoms are all messages from the subconscious inner child saying, hey, I don't want you to go there. Hey, you're still holding on to X, right? And so we can begin to create a brand new relationship with the body, therefore the inner child. And then we can create congruence between the mind, body, and spirit, my friends. Because let me tell you something very, very important. Listen up. In order for us to stay on the path to heal ourselves, we have to create a much more effective and beautiful and loving relationship with the very things that we're running from. What that means is that your symptoms, as much as they are uncomfortable and not taking your life in the direction you want it to go, must be acknowledged and understood from the child mind's perspective. What is your body trying to tell you? Very powerful. Now, a few more principles here. This line really stuck out to me because this comes from someone who was looking deep into their traumas, generational, along with personal traumas, and they realized something, and I want to share this with you because you're going to go, oh my God, that is a moment of clarity for me. That is an epiphany, right? She mentions that those feelings lived in me, but weren't from me. Powerful. So you may have feelings, negative feelings that are living within you, but not necessarily from you, not necessarily from your personal experience. Oh, how powerful this is. Because the moment you go to mom and you say, Mom, did you ever go through this particular experience in your life? Did you ever feel X? And she's going, yeah, I really did. And this experience in my life brought on this feeling that you're experiencing. Notice the roadmap, right? The roadmap. So you may be experiencing feelings within you that don't necessarily mean they came from you. Powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. Now, he also mentions that visualization can create new neural pathways in the brain and even have a positive effect on our genes. Warriors, I'm a big believer in hypnosis and mental movies and somatic engagement to heal someone or get them on the path towards healing and stay there. So what we need to understand is if there is, and Mark mentions this in his book, if there is one particular skill set that you want to get really, really, really good at, it comes down to running mental movies through your subconscious imagination with great feeling and emotion behind them. Because when you do this and you locate where in your body you're storing those feelings, what tends to happen is you begin to cry. Visualization brings upon crying. It brings upon yawning, right? It brings upon sweating. This is all suppressed and repressed emotions being released from the subconscious body. So you want to get engaged. You want to get really, really good at running these mental movies every single day, cleaning up your past, and even imagining the kind of future that you want, right? Now, finally, let's go into this principle here. The mind is like Velcro for negative experiences. I love this. The mind is like Velcro for negative experiences. Our very survival depends on sorting for potential future threat. If you're currently going through thought patterns and they are mostly geared towards negativity, you need to understand that that is natural. That is natural. Because this system within you, mainly run from the amygdala, the part of our emotional brains that are always sorting for threats in the outside world and keeping you emotional towards those threats so you can take some form of action to run from or to fight back towards them, is all about love. Love? Wow. I bet you never saw your negative thought processes and your negative emotions from the perspective of love. Your system wants to keep you safe, and it will do whatever in its power to maintain that safety for you, that survivalness. So just because you're going through certain thought patterns and they're mostly on the negative side or feelings that are on the negative side, you have to stop beating yourself up so much because of those, because that's our natural ways of sorting for what could potentially be a threat. Now, what you don't want to do is accept those, because you don't want a feeling, a negative feeling, to turn into a negative emotion. If you allow the negative feeling to turn into a negative emotion, then it becomes very, very difficult to stop the pattern of that negative emotion, right? Cognitively, behaviorally, it becomes very difficult. But when we catch ourselves in the moment of experiencing a negative feeling or a thought pattern, then we have the ability to do something about it, right? And so this is very, very important. You have to stop labeling yourself as X, because the label is the biggest problem in anxiety disorders. I am X. I am anxiety. That's why I'm always saying to you that you are more than anxiety. And what I mean by more is you are not your negative thought patterns. You are not your past traumas. You are not your parents. Right? You are none of these things. What you want to do is you want to come from an understanding place rather than a self-sabotaging place. And you have the ability to do that starting today. Warriors, I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that this book review with some of the principles spoke to you. Please go pick up this book. You can get it on Amazon, I believe. I got it on iBooks through audiobooks. So pick it up and study. You know, whenever I'm going through books, I'm always studying these books. I'm not just reading them and putting them in a corner. I'm always taking notes, right? As well, if you started reading my book, F Coping, Start Healing, you can pick it up through Amazon. Same thing. Please study these books, right? And they're going to create a lasting change in your life. Have a wonderful day. And if you know anybody who's suffering from anxiety, please share this YouTube channel with them. It would mean so much to me. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.